If you've been here for a while, here on my channel that is, you know that I am a big fan of numbers. I like data. I like to be able to look at things and essentially break them down, figure out what it means, look at trends. I think that's really important to study trends to know where things are headed or what potential things might have. And of course, in business, it's really important to have some of those insights because it essentially is your guidance for success. So, when I look at things like the streaming industry and what way things are going or where things should be going, I'm often met with a strange realization that maybe some of the data is lying to us. Intuition gets in the way of things sometimes as well, especially when it comes to these streaming services, at least for me. I've looked at Netflix, Disney, and a few of these other entities that didn't have an ad tier and thought, hey, people that have an ad tier make more money. Well, that could be a function of being available to more people, possibly. Could be a function of the fact that advertising actually does generate external revenue and that people see value in that. At least the advertisers do for right now, which is also a changing trend. But we'll get into that in a different video. Let's focus in on the fact that maybe, just maybe, people don't want ad tier subscriptions. Maybe they don't like having their content interrupted. And that brings us to the point of this story. The majority of people, they don't want an ad tier. Let's dive in. Here we go. So Deadline put together an article and I was a little bit taken aback. This goes back to August 19th, as a matter of fact, and we're well into the last few days of August, and I just discovered this. Well, not really, but I had to hang on to it for a while. Anyway, this story is fascinating because the headline gives you all the information you need. Streaming subscribers resist the idea of trading down from ad-free to ad-supported tiers, despite the cost savings. Holy cow. Blows my mind. The story is focusing in early on Netflix and Disney, and you can read the story for yourself. I'll include the link to it on Deadline in the description. You're seeing that a large majority of the audience out there saying they have no interest in trading down to an ad tier. The study that was done by Fandom, which is an offshoot of Wiki from a couple of founding members over there, really does a great job of breaking down the numbers and giving you exactly what the questions were, which makes this survey more valuable. They include multiple options across the board, and if you look at these slides as we go through, they're going to give you an idea kind of what people think, and to me, it's a little against my intuition. But I don't mind being wrong. So let's take a look here. 57% of the 1,000 entertainment fans that were solicited in this study agreed with this statement. I am not interested in subscribing to any subscription services that have ads. That's right, 57%. If you look at it as in the form of a pie chart, that's a lot of purple. You have a decent chunk of humanity. It looks like about 26% that say, I am only interested in ad-supported subscriptions tiers if it is free to watch. Well, that's another telling thing, considering most of these proposals by Netflix and Disney and others require that you pay a little something for their ad tier. And 17%, which is a very small fraction, say, I am interested in paying less for an ad-supported tier if there is no free tier. Well, there you go. Those are numbers that everybody, including Disney and, of course, Netflix, should be paying attention to. Maybe this won't be the boon that you think it is, or the artificial boost to the ARPU. I'm not saying it won't be a boost to the ARPU, because it will be. But I think it's being overestimated. A lot of times when you get these studies, they are a little slanted, let's say. The questions are kind of ambiguous. Sometimes you end up in push-pull situations. If you know anything about polls, you should always eliminate those from the equation, because it's going to give you bad data. But you'll find that 70% don't like interruption when they're watching a show or movie. 70% don't want to be interrupted during that process. That's overwhelming, which means they think ads are more disruptive when they're binge watching versus watching a single episode. Well, of course. For example, right now, one of the most frustrating things that I encounter on HBO Max and similar is that I get a preview ad of something else on their platform. I don't want that. I don't want that at all. And I don't want something in between the episodes of things I'm watching. Thank goodness it looks like HBO Max has gotten away from that. Because at that point, you're not ad-free. You're giving me an ad. It just happens to be for your junk, which I'm not interested in the first place, or I'd be watching. So it looks like 69%, and this is a huge number, would cancel their streaming subscription if it moved to an ad-supported tier exclusively. They'd be done. If they went with an ad tier, reduced the price, it doesn't matter, they would cancel it. This is not good news, right? They really, really hate when the same old ads play over and over and over and over. And let me tell you, so do I. But these numbers are quite staggering when you start to get into the percentages. I mean, you're looking at numbers of 60+% of people that they hate long ad breaks. They think just most of the breaks now are too long. I'd say that some of the forced commercials you get on YouTube can be a little trying. And they found that the ads are not relevant to their interests. Well, the minute you turn off cookies, you don't have a lot of advertisers that don't want to target their consumers. So you're going to see repetitive ads over and over again, because those are the only ones that don't care. They're agnostic. They don't care what customer they get with their ad. And you'll find that a lot with a lot of these message-based things. They are very agnostic when it comes to advertising to you. There's also a significant number of reports that ads, when they were delivered in any way, are somewhat glitchy. They don't really like that. And believe me, I've experienced that a lot on YouTube as well. If you look at the numbers broken down, and this is an interesting number, 64% think that there are benefits to having an ad-supported tier, even though more people wouldn't move around to it. Access to content and cost savings are the largest benefits of ad-supported tiers, which we know. So I get to access content that I wouldn't pay for full price. That's about 36% of the audience, so it's not a huge number. 35% of the people say it's the cost savings that interest them in the ad tier. 30% realize they could just go do something else during the course of the ads, like they did when they had linear television. Those commercial breaks offer an opportunity to get up, get a sandwich, go to the bathroom, whatnot. 8% of people actually enjoy targeted ads. That's not a lot. And targeted ads may work, but not really. And that's the other problem. I mean, you can hit me with all the Volvo commercials and Subaru commercials you want. I'm not going to buy either car brand, so you wasted an enormous amount of money on me, because I get those ads all the time, and they're not my jam. I probably would never buy a Subaru. They don't make vehicles that I would have any interest in. Same thing with a Volvo. Volvos are overly boxy, and to be honest, they don't have the dealer support or the service support that you really need with a quality automobile. Hell, you can get more service out of a Tesla than you can out of a Volvo in most locations in the United States. So when it comes to the breakdowns, at least the way the audience splits out, they are, they're divided when it comes to how they're going to change around their current subscriptions. So when you look at this, these three questions that are important. Change a current subscription from ad-free to ad-supported to save money. Only about 52% would consider that, right? They would consider it. 48% said no, not open to that. Not going to do it. More surprising to me, because I thought that people would jump at a value proposition such as being able to sign up for an ad-supported tier of a subscription service that I don't currently subscribed to. 59% of people aren't open to that. And again, that's a polar opposite of what I thought. I'm thinking, 60% of people would jump all over that. Nope. But 40% of people would, so 4 in 10. Those folks would definitely take a look at your service as like a trial, because that's what it is. It's a value proposition of a trial with ads inserted. And then they'd make a decision from there whether or not to subscribe. Well, one of the problems with that is that you're not, in most of these scenarios, aren't getting access to the quote-unquote premium stuff if you're not paying the premium price. I imagine that's how Disney's going to roll their stuff out. They've alluded to such. I imagine Netflix will probably be in that same ballpark. So I don't know if people are really going to tilt that way or not. Can't answer that question. But I am surprised. Like I said, 6 out of 10 say not open to jumping over on an ad tier on a trial basis. Strange. And then the audience is divided 50-50 when it comes to switching between ad tiers and ad-free tiers, depending upon what I'm watching at the time. So that could happen, but it's still not an overwhelming number either way. I'm just not sure a lot of people are gonna abandon things outright. The thinking, including my thinking, has always been that streaming was too expensive to maintain multiple streaming services. Well, perhaps people just are willing to forego any offerings from Peacock, right? Universal Comcast. They're like, nah, I'll see what I want to in the theaters. And if they have something else I might be interested in, maybe. Maybe they're the same way with anything coming out of Viacom, CBS, Paramount, right? That maybe they're just like, Paramount's been garbage lately. Thank you to destroying the Star Trek and all the other stuff that you've been doing at a half-hearted way. And I'm not interested in your content anymore. I think the studios are screwing themselves here, and I think at least they've realized that. I've got another video coming out about the pivoting of certain studios in a particular direction, kind of going back to the old way of doing things, because that's where the money's at. But hey, been saying that for forever. But the majority of fans, according to the data, would continue paying for an ad-free version of Disney Plus, at least when they asked that specific question. 57% would be choosing to go that way, at least for Disney. Over that, closer to that number would be Netflix. That's a lot. HBO Max is well over 50% would stay with their ad-free. Hulu is sitting slightly below 50%. Hulu's garbage. I mean, it's... I understand the access as you get the Hulu Plus Live TV bundle. I can see some appeal there, but I don't care that much anymore. And most of this stuff I can find online pretty easily. Maybe I have to watch an ad, whatever, but Hulu's not the value proposition it used to be, and Disney's not propping it up right now because they don't want to write a bigger check to Comcast. That's really all that's about. Amazon Prime, most people are going to stay as they are with it. Some people would take a lower price with some limited ads on Amazon Prime. I would argue that Amazon Prime is really not as functional or as appealing to a lot of the audience. And because it's just thrown in as a bonus, I'm not sure people actually are fully engaged with any of that content, even if it's the newer stuff like the Rings of Power that's coming out or anything else. In fact, I'm thinking that might actually push people away from Amazon, even though they're continually expanding their interests in all of your money to the tune of 38% of all e-commerce dollars. But I don't know. I don't think they have a lot of value. Paramount Plus, people are basically going to move over to something free or unlimited ads when it comes to them. And Apple Plus TV is just not the appealing thing that a lot of people would have predicted. So here's some takeaways, and these are their takeaways, not mine. Introducing ad-supported streaming services will introduce movement in the landscape. Well, maybe some. I think I was expecting a lot more. I think I was wrong. It says the majority of fans prefer ad-free streaming services due to the lack of interruption that ads bring. True statement. 43% are open to ad-supported streaming services, and 57% believe which tier they subscribe to is based on the content offered on the service. Well, duh. half of the audience is likely to make a switch with the introduction of ad-supported streaming services, probably is a trial, right? But I'm not convinced. Again, I am not convinced that streaming actually tipping towards ad support is really gonna be the savior. And I think that, like I said, that's counterintuitive for someone like me, but based on these numbers, could be wrong. Could be wrong, and that's okay. But what do you think? Do you think that your consumption of what comes out of these streaming services is going to change based on whether or not you're getting something with ads or not? Do you think you're going to dive into an ad tier? Do you think that that's something that you're actually interested in? I'm curious. Will that change your habits? We have more streaming services because of ad tiers. I don't know. Anyway, those comments down below will help inform my opinion in the future for sure. Obviously, my mind is blown. 57% of the audience will be looking at Disney Plus content in an ad-free situation, not changing anything. It blows my mind. And those numbers are even higher for Netflix. I'm not sure people are going to sway from what they buy now. And I'm pretty sure that the content market, at least as far as the streaming services go, are mature. I'm not sure there's a whole lot of room for growth, as we've seen the decline of Netflix and, to a certain extent, Disney. Disney had a very stagnant quarterly report for the North American growth of Disney Plus, with only 100,000 added, not millions, as expected. Of course, global growth is easy to attain with expansion, but it comes at a cost of ARPU, the average revenue per user. But anyway, your thoughts on all of that, because I could keep going forever, down below in the comments. I'd appreciate that. And of course, support independent creators that cover this stuff. I mean, you know, one of my favorite follows obviously is going to be Valiant Renegade. Another one's going to be Midnight's Edge. There's so many great people covering the business aspect now that, gosh, I'm just glad to be hanging out with them when I get a chance to. We get a chance to talk about these things, and we really enjoy it. So do support those independent creators out there. Give them like, love, you know, shoot them comments, share out their content, just like you do mine, which I appreciate very much. Helps with engagement. Be sure to take care of yourself, of course. Take care of others. Wash your hands, because it's good hygiene. And until next time, bye. Thanks for visiting today. Be sure you're subscribed and hit that for alerts.
Yay!
Of course, like and share all of the videos that you can, as it helps with the algorithm. Have a great day.